All right, so today I'm going to talk about what's happening in Collin County. Obviously, had a lot of growth in Collin County. We have a lot of projects going on. Just like down here, you got a lot of stuff going on. Some of you guys have to commute through Collin County. Please don't throw the tomatoes on your salad at me. We try to keep you through, but it doesn't always happen. So let's see. My clicker is not cooperating with me. Any pro tips? Oh, left or right? No? Oh, no, I did not hit that mouse button. You told me not. Haha, we got it. All right. So first I'll talk about TxDOT's mission and vision. So our mission is to connect you with Texas, to connect to the different things you want to do in Texas safely and quickly and efficiently whenever we can. So we want to be a forward-thinking leader, delivering mobility and enabling economic opportunity and enhancing the quality of life for all Texans. So every good meeting starts out talking about how fast North Texas is growing. So why not? North Texas is 13 counties, 9,000 square miles, 7.5 million people. And in the Dallas district, we have 7 counties, 5,444 square miles, and 4.8 million people. Collin County is 841 square miles of that, 1,555 lane miles, and 1.03 million people that we try to take care of. So like I said, we have a little bit of everything in our area office. We have construction, design, planning, materials testing. I'm not going to hit too much on materials testing, but I'll hit on the rest of them. So I'm going to highlight 2 projects here. The first one is FM 2478. Most of you guys know this as Custer Road and State Highway 121. I know it's second on the list, but just to confuse you, I'm going to go ahead and start talking about State Highway 121 first and tell you guys the sad story that how this project came to be so quickly was that in the 18 months prior to us constructing or getting this roadway bid, we had 15 fatalities in 18 months on State Highway 121. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Posted speed limit is 70, 2-lane road, minimal shoulders. And a lot of those incidents that we were having were people who were stopped to try to turn left on our little side streets. And without turn lanes and without adequate roadway space, they were getting tagged in the back and getting thrown into traffic. So district got together, found some funding, and we are working on a $91 million project out there to reconstruct and widen about 13 miles of that roadway and add turn lanes and have divided concrete barrier. There we go. So I'm not breathing into it. Have divided concrete barrier and add those needed turn lanes. So we're really excited to have that project kicking off. Custer Road, just like Custer Road, all the way down through Dallas, Richardson, Plano, all the way up through McKinney and Frisco. As you get north of 380, that roadway is still 2 lanes, no shoulders, rural. So we are widening it to an urban section that will have a median that you can eventually put the 5th and 6th lane on. So we're excited to have that with all the growth we have up in Prosper and North McKinney and that end of the world. We really need that project going on. So that's 2 major ones we've got in construction right now. We have a bunch of other ones, and the text is way too small for you to read, so I'll just walk through some of them. We have some bridge replacement jobs on 455, and some of those are just federal bridge replacement funds that we get to update our infrastructure after it scores, on a scale that we can replace those. The next one, State Highway 78. This is in northern Collin County, and this was to add, we had anywhere between 3 and 9 foot shoulders, and we wanted to go ahead and make that whole corridor have 10-foot safety shoulders. So it's about a 15-mile project that starts in Farmersville and goes north to the county line. That one's getting pretty close to the end. We have several of these jobs, FM 2194, not listed, FM 3133, FM 1778, Business 78, FM 546, and I'm saying all of those together because they're all the same job. So generally those jobs are taking a 22-foot typical section. We found that a lot of our 22-foot roadways, 2 11-foot lanes and no shoulders, we were having a lot of head-on and run off the road incidents. And so even adding a 3-foot shoulder on either side of those lanes, adding rumble strips, adding center line rumble strips, we were seeing a significant decrease in the amount of collisions that we have on those roadways. And so we've been sort of systematically going through the district and improving these 22-foot roadways to 28 feet. And we are seeing a pretty significant reduction in our collisions doing that. Some of you guys have lived through the now almost complete State Highway 289 at President George Bush Tollway project. Hardest $4 million I've ever had to spend at TxDOT, I'm pretty sure. But that particular project is all to widen a bridge a little bit and add a much needed right turn lane and do a left. We're just about done with that. And I really think we're going to see some pretty significant improvement. But for those of y'all that have lived through that, I'm sorry. I know what a nightmare that particular one has been for your commute. I hear about it from the city of Plano almost every day. No, they're very nice. All right, and then we have a landscaping job on there. We do have occasionally these landscaping jobs that come in and can beautify some of our roadways that have been recently reconstructed. There we go. All right, so what do we have major project wise that we're planning on coming up? So in Wiley, at 544 and 1378, this is at the intersection where you can find Wiley High School and a very new Collin County Community College right down the road. We're looking at doing some intersection improvements, left and right turn lanes, et cetera. Letting in May of 22, about a $2.6 million job. 75 at Ridgeview, this is sort of the last unimproved intersection through McKinney, the McKinney, Fairview, Allen area. So as you come up to McKinney, right, that last intersection in Allen, Ridgeview Drive, we're going to reconstruct that bridge. We're actually going to shift the center line of 75 just a little bit in anticipation of a potential future project on 75 with some sort of modification to the current HOV lanes. And nobody knows what that is yet, including the legislature. So I'm not going to talk about that, but that's what we are looking at doing there. 205, this is very South Collin County. A lot of you guys will use this if you would maybe live in southeastern Collin County and you commute down into Dallas on 30. We have a lot of traffic on 205. So this is a 2-lane road with 10-foot shoulders, and we're going to widen this and make it 4-lane divided ultimate 6. So 205 was one that was mentioned that I got to design a little bit in Mesquite before I left. And on that roadway, if you drive through it, you will see a cross that says Olivia that has a hula hoop on it. And that little Olivia was 5 years old when she lost her life on State Highway 205 after a driver crossed the center line and hit her mother's car. So all of my engineers were subjected to me taking them out there and standing and looking at Olivia's cross and saying, hey, this is why we're doing what we're doing. This is why we're making these safety improvements. And I think that that's something a lot of times that we get lost in putting things on paper and design, but we don't exactly remember why we're doing what we're doing. 2551, this is Northern Murphy Road for any of y'all familiar with the area. So there's a big park, Celebration Park. This goes from kind of south of Celebration Park in Allen down to Murphy Road in Murphy. Gonna reconstruct and widen this 2-lane rural to 6-lane urban divided. We have a real fun situation here with an 84-inch water line and a 60-inch sanitary sewer line that have made this project just tons of fun. But we're finally getting there. We're almost to the finish line. I think we're going to get to bid this one this year. The last one's FM 2514 in Wiley Parker area, St. Paul. So you guys know this is Parker Road, probably. Parker Road, as you continue to some of those outside cities, we do have one little section left that's not improved to a 4 ultimate 6. And that's what we're planning on doing with that one. All right, so lots of projects under design. You can look at this map and kind of see them. We got lots of projects up here on State Highway 5 in the northern part of the county. All of this is still 2-lane with shoulders. So we're looking at making that 4-lane ultimate 6. You've got this little squiggly thing here, FM 545, that we're looking at making 2 lanes with 10-foot shoulders. We got some really sharp curves in there, hoping to do some realignment of some of those curves. We have, this is FM 1461 up here, Prosper, Salina area that we're hoping to do a 4-lane ultimate 6. The traffic in that area has just exploded, as a lot of you guys know, and that project is very much needed. That's any of y'all familiar with Baylor in McKinney? So it kind of starts there, goes up and around the curve and all the way over to Preston Road. right here, job 17, this is on 380. This isn't the 380 job you'll all want to hear me talk about yet. We're getting there, but this is to add the 5th and 6th lane through Princeton and Lowry Crossing and McKinney, where we don't have the 5th and 6th lane on 380 yet. If any of you guys live out there and deal with that, you'll know why we're so excited about that one. And then we have some other projects shown on here, small intersection improvement projects. For any of y'all familiar with the Lucas area, we have what we lovingly call the bait shop intersection that we're looking at realigning at 3286 and 1378. And I lost my train of thought. I apologize. Oh yeah, the last piece of 75 right up here. So the Sherman Van Alstyne area, they have recently kicked off their project to widen 75 to add the 5th and 6th lane on the main lanes. And up in Collin County, we have one last mile that has only 4 lanes. So hopefully we'll get some funding for that and kick that into the 5th and 6th lane and not create a bottleneck right there in that area. All right, so we have lots of stuff going on in planning too. You'll notice, and a lot of you guys have asked me about this. This is the 380 bypass project, which we'll talk about, looking at maybe a freeway on 380 in some areas or a freeway type section. So that's a big project we've got in planning right now. We also have some projects at 121 and 5, where we're looking at reconfiguring an intersection there. FM 428, this is a little roadway over in the Frisco, Salina, end of the world that goes into Denton County that we're looking at for ultimate 6 lane. FM 1378, we're starting to do a feasibility study, trying to see if we can widen FM 1378 down through Wiley and all the way up through Lucas and up into the Fairview and eventually McKinney area. FM 6, for any of y'all familiar with the Nevada Josephine area, you may use FM 6 to get to and from 30. It's another one of those that we're doing a feasibility study to look at. Do we need to go ahead and put an urban section out there because of the exploding population in that area? So, and then we have a project on US 75, like we always do, because we could never actually be done with construction on US 75, right? That wouldn't make it fun for anybody. To look if there's any way to improve the ramping and improve some of the configurations to help traffic in that area. All right, so we'll talk about 380 bypass. So obviously some of the challenges of 380 bypass, I think you guys can figure this out without me standing up here and saying things, but obviously you have the challenges of, you could bring big business in with this, but you also have people's houses, people who have been living there for a long time who aren't exactly thrilled about the 380 bypass. You have environmental concerns, you have all types of concerns, and that has really made the 380 bypass project a challenge. TxDOT's worked really hard through many public involvement meetings of this kind or that, virtual, in-person, town hall, apps, to get opinions, solicit opinions on this. So we are looking at taking the existing typical section on 380, which is, I've lost it, there it is, okay, which is 6 lanes through most of it, except for the one piece I just told you about, and looking at making 8 lanes with ramping and frontage roads. And then in some areas, we even have a depressed or tunnel type section that we're looking at to save some businesses down in the McKinney area. So what you're seeing up there are the alignments, the preferred alignments or the recommended alignments as a result of a very long feasibility study by many people. So that's shown up there on the screen. As you can see, there's a bypass as you go out from the county line through Farmersville, and then you kind of stay on 380 over the lake, and it kind of goes up and north of Princeton, and then we're recommending going up north and kind of over McKinney, and then staying on alignment as you go through this outside part of McKinney and down through Prosper and over to the county line. So what I don't have is the Denton County section of this, because I've got enough problems of my own with what I'm showing you on the screen. So I don't have the Denton County slide to show you. I apologize about that, but this is currently the recommended alignment. So what's next, right? There's a lot of people that still have opinions about the recommended alignment, and that's good because we still have a lot of the process left to go through. So we do have schematic design, environmental impact statements, environmental assessments. So some of these pieces where it's not as developed. It's a little bit easier to find an alignment. We'll be able to just do an environmental assessment, which is not an easy environmental clearance document to get, but it's not as difficult to get as an environmental impact statement is a very big deal. It's a very big document. All of these documents have to have public involvement and public concern, and TxDOT commenting back to the public as they give us their opinions and comments and concerns. So this process is far from done. We can recommend all day long, but these environmental documents can change those recommendations and can modify these alignments. So we still have that going on. Some of the sections that are maybe easier to define, we're hoping to move forward with those first into schematic design and right-of-way acquisition and construction. So this is not a funded project at this time. They an absolutely huge total of $2.4 billion there at the bottom of the screen to do the whole segment. And this is right away and everything through construction. And my guess is that that's not the inflated 2040 number that's currently sitting where my let date is sitting. So hopefully we get that done before then and we pick up some funding and things like that. But right now, just looking at the planning stages of this, it's absolutely difficult for me to wrap my mind around it, but it's very exciting to know that what we're looking at now, what we're planning for now, what I'm getting the opportunity to see that, maybe my grandkids get to drive on. But I probably won't get to. Hopefully I get to. Anyway, so that's a little bit about that. Do you have any questions? Thank you very much for allowing me to come and present about what's going on in Collin County. I know this is Dallas, so I don't know how much of this affects you, but hopefully you got something out of it that you enjoyed. Yes, sir. So the question is there any plan or concern about completing the outer loop as it goes around Melissa? And I get to kick the can a little bit. So the outer loop is a Collin County project. It's not a TxDOT project. I get the permits that come through when they want to connect to our road, but otherwise we kind of stay out of it. So it's not a great answer to your question, but that's the answer I've got. I apologize. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you very much. And I'll stick around for a little bit. If y'all think anything else, come and bug me.